Hey there, movie lovers! Today, we're diving into the world of Final Destination Bloodlines, a film that hit the screens on August 23, 2025, and sparked endless conversations. If you're a fan of thrilling stories, powerful characters, and hidden movie secrets, then this one's for you. Don't forget to like the video if you're enjoying the deep dive, and hit that subscribe button for more incredible film breakdowns and discoveries. Let's get started and uncover everything that makes this movie unforgettable. Final Destination Bloodlines came out in early 2025, and right away, a lot of people started talking about it. It's not just another scary movie trying to copy the old ones. This one felt different. It mixed the usual suspense and scares with a story that felt more personal because it focused on family and how they're all connected. The actors did a good job making their characters feel real, which you don't always get in horror movies. The scenes looked really good too, with some clever and creepy moments that kept people watching. But what really made this movie interesting was the story. The movie is about fate and family, how the characters are connected by blood and a curse that they don't fully understand at first. Unlike the other movies in the series where strangers get caught up in scary situations, this one is about relatives who slowly find out that their family has a dark secret. At first, things seem normal, but as the movie goes on, you start to see how fate is pulling them into danger. What's cool about Bloodlines is how it builds suspense. It doesn't just jump out to scare you. It makes you feel nervous by showing close calls and how death seems to follow the characters no matter what they do. Every scary moment feels like it fits the story, which makes it more real. You want to look away sometimes because it's tense, but you can't stop watching. There's also a side to the story that's about feelings and family drama. The characters are dealing with hard things like fear and loss, and they want to keep each other safe. This makes the movie more than just a scary story. It shows people trying to survive and care for each other even when things look hopeless. Since it came out, lots of people have been saying how Bloodlines is one of the better movies in the Final Destination series. It keeps the things fans like but adds new ideas and feelings to the story. The mix of suspense, emotion, and cool visuals makes it a movie you don't forget right away. In short, Final Destination Bloodlines is a movie about family, fate, and scary things happening when those two come together. If you like scary movies that make you feel something more, this one is worth watching. It's a fresh take on a familiar story, and it's one of the best horror movies to come out in 2025, alright? So let me tell you about the first half of Final Destination Bloodlines like I'm chatting with a friend. The movie opens with this kind of quiet, tense feeling. You get a sense that something big and bad is just waiting to happen, but you don't know exactly what yet. We meet our main characters pretty slowly, which is nice because it lets you get to know them a little instead of just throwing you into chaos right away. There's this group of people, all connected through family, but at first, they don't really realize how deep their connection is. The story starts with a funeral scene, which already sets a somber mood. It's clear something's wrong in this family, but the details are a bit mysterious. The main focus is on a young woman named Emma, who's dealing with a lot, grief, guilt, and some strange dreams that don't make sense at first. She's thoughtful and a bit guarded, but you can tell there's something special about her. The actors make her feel real, like someone you could meet and actually care about. Around her, there's her uncle, Mark, who seems tough but also protective. Mark is the kind of guy who hides his feelings but cares deeply about the family. There are also other relatives, each with their own little secrets and problems. The movie does a great job introducing them in ways that make you want to know more, like little puzzle pieces. Early on, there's a scene where Emma finds an old family photo album. It's one of those quiet moments that feels simple but actually tells you a lot. As she flips through the photos, you can tell she's trying to understand her family's past, and the camera lingers on certain faces and dates, which hints that these details will matter later. It's the kind of thing that feels small but gets you curious about what's coming. The tension starts to build when strange things begin happening. At first, they seem like coincidences, little accidents, almost. Someone nearly slips, another person has a close call with a car, and the atmosphere gets creepier by the minute. The way the movie shows these moments is really clever. They're not obvious scares, but more like quiet warnings that something is wrong. You start to feel like the characters are being watched by fate or something bigger than themselves. One scene that really stuck with me was when Emma and Mark visit their old family home. The place is kind of run down and has this eerie silence, like it's holding on to old secrets. As they explore, there are hints of the past, a broken clock stopped at a certain time, strange symbols carved into the woodwork. The way the movie uses these details makes the house feel like a character itself, full of mystery. It's the kind of place that makes you wonder what really happened there years ago. The first half of the movie also spends time showing how the characters try to deal with the growing danger. They start noticing patterns, and Emma tries to piece together what the strange dreams and accidents mean. It's interesting to watch her go from confusion to determination, even as the threats get closer. The tension between the characters builds too. Some want to believe there's a curse, while others just want to ignore it and move on. These differences create small but meaningful conflicts that add depth to the story. There's a really powerful moment when Emma finds an old letter hidden in a book, something written by an ancestor warning about a curse on their family. It's one of those classic aha moments that makes everything click into place but also raises more questions. The movie handles these reveals without rushing, letting you soak in the mystery and feel the weight of what the characters are facing. As the first half moves on, you start to see how the danger is getting closer. The accidents become more serious and harder to explain. There's a scene where one of the relatives almost dies in a freak accident, and the way it's filmed makes it feel both shocking and inevitable. The movie plays with your emotions here. You want to shout at the screen, warning the characters, but you know it's too late. It's that mix of dread and helplessness that makes the suspense work so well. Throughout all this, the movie keeps dropping little hints that death isn't random. It's like a force with a plan, and the characters are trapped in its path. The idea that the curse is tied to their family bloodline becomes clearer, and the stakes get higher. The first half ends on a note that's both tense and full of questions. You're left wanting to know how they'll survive and what it will cost them. Overall, the beginning of Final Destination Bloodlines is a slow burn, but in a good way. It takes time to build the world and characters so that when the scares come, they hit harder. The mix of family drama, mystery, and horror creates a story that feels fresh even if you've seen other movies in the series. You're not just watching people run from death, you're following a family trying to understand and fight their own dark history. It's the kind of story that keeps you hooked and makes you want to keep watching to see what happens next. Picking up where the first half left off, the story of Final Destination Bloodlines dives even deeper into the tension and mystery surrounding Emma and her family. The weight of the curse feels heavier now, and every little event seems charged with meaning, as if the characters are moving closer to an inevitable fate they're desperate to escape. You can feel this growing pressure in every scene, and it's not just about the physical danger anymore, it's about what these moments mean for the people caught in this web. Emma, who started off as unsure and trying to piece things together, begins to grow stronger and more determined. She's no longer just reacting, she's actively looking for answers, digging into old family stories and legends, trying to find a way to break the cycle. Her relationship with Mark, her uncle, also deepens. At first, Mark was distant and tough, but as they face these dangers together, you see a softer, more vulnerable side. Their conversations reveal fears, regrets, and hopes that make them feel real and relatable. The movie uses these emotional moments to remind us that this isn't just a horror story, it's about family, survival, and facing the past. One of the turning points in the second half is when Emma discovers a hidden room in the old family house. This scene is packed with atmosphere. The lighting is dim, and there's this sense of stepping into a forgotten piece of the past. Inside, she finds old diaries and artifacts that shed light on what happened years ago, the origin of the curse and the choices that started it. These revelations don't just serve as background, they change everything. Suddenly, the curse isn't just some random bad luck or spooky legend. It's tied to very real actions and secrets, and the characters' understanding of their family history shifts dramatically. The movie handles these reveals carefully, keeping the suspense alive. You don't get everything at once. Instead, the pieces come together slowly, making you think and wonder what's going to happen next. The writing here is smart, balancing horror with mystery and emotional depth. The scares don't lose their impact because they're tied to something bigger, a family's struggle and the idea that past mistakes can have consequences that echo through generations. As the story moves forward, the accidents and close calls become even more intense. One scene that really stands out is a narrow escape that feels almost like a game of chance. The way the camera zooms in on small details, like a loose wire or a falling object, builds this edge-of-your-seat feeling. It's a reminder that in this story, fate can turn on the smallest things, and survival often depends on quick thinking and a bit of luck. But luck isn't always enough, and the movie doesn't shy away from showing the cost of these near misses. The characters' reactions to these events are just as important as the events themselves. Emma struggles with guilt and fear, questioning whether she can do anything to protect her family or if they're doomed no matter what. Mark's protective instincts kick in, but he also wrestles with his own past decisions. Their emotional journeys are intertwined with the plot suspense, making the story feel personal and urgent. Another powerful moment comes when Emma faces a difficult choice, whether to risk everything to confront the curse head-on or try to find a safer path. This decision is not just about surviving but about accepting responsibility and breaking free from the past. The tension here is thick because the movie has spent so much time building up the stakes, and now it asks its characters to act in ways that feel real and meaningful. The climax itself is intense but also thoughtful. It's not just a rush of action but a careful weaving together of the themes and character arcs that the movie has explored. The way the family comes together, despite their differences and fears, gives the ending an emotional punch. You feel the weight of what they've been through and the hope for something better, even in the face of uncertainty. Throughout this second half, the movie keeps surprising you. Just when you think you understand the rules of the curse or the path the story will take, a twist changes everything. These moments are handled with care, so they feel earned rather than thrown in for shock value. It's clear the filmmakers wanted to keep the audience guessing and emotionally invested, and they succeed. By the time the resolution arrives, the tension has reached its peak. The family's fate feels uncertain, and the movie leaves just enough open questions to keep your mind turning after the credits roll. It's the kind of ending that respects the story and its characters, giving closure but also room to imagine what might come next. In the end, the second half of Final Destination, Bloodlines is a mix of thrills, emotional depth, and mystery that keeps you hooked until the very last scene. The story moves naturally from fear and confusion to courage and understanding, making it more than just a horror movie. It's a story about family, fate, and the choices that define us. Watching it feels like being on a journey with people you care about, facing danger but also finding hope. It's this blend of suspense and heart that has made the movie stand out and why people keep talking about it long after watching. From the moment you meet Emma, you sense there's more beneath her calm exterior. She's not just your typical young woman caught in a strange, scary situation. She carries a quiet strength that slowly unfolds as the story moves forward. What's interesting about Emma is how her character grows through the film. At first, she seems a bit unsure, maybe overwhelmed by the strange events around her, but as she digs deeper into her family's past and faces one frightening moment after another, she becomes someone determined to take control. The actress who plays Emma does a wonderful job here. Her expressions aren't overly dramatic but subtle, a flicker of fear in her eyes, a small nod of resolve. These little details make her feel real. It's easy to believe that she's someone you could meet in real life, someone whose fears and hopes you'd understand. Her motivation is clear but also layered. It's not just about surviving the curse, it's about protecting the family she loves and making sure the mistakes of the past don't keep hurting them. This emotional core gives her journey meaning beyond the scares and suspense. You can tell the actress tapped into this, showing Emma's moments of doubt alongside her moments of bravery, making her growth feel genuine rather than forced. Then there's Mark, Emma's uncle, who starts off as a more distant and rough-around-the-edges figure but slowly reveals layers that make him more than just a protector. His tough exterior hides guilt and regret, and you see this especially in the way he interacts with Emma and the other family members. The actor playing Mark brings a quiet intensity to the role. His voice is steady but carries the weight of unspoken feelings. There's a particular scene where Mark hesitates before sharing a secret, and you can almost feel the years of pain in that pause. What makes Mark's character stand out is this mix of strength and vulnerability. He wants to keep his family safe, but is haunted by choices he made long ago. Watching his relationship with Emma develop is one of the emotional highlights of the film, and the chemistry between the actors makes their bond believable and touching. Supporting characters add richness to the story, like Aunt Linda, whose skepticism about the curse adds a nice contrast. She represents a more practical viewpoint, and her doubts lead to tense but honest conversations within the family. The actress playing Linda brings a natural warmth and wit that lightens the mood when things get dark, but she also shows moments of genuine concern that remind viewers this isn't just about ghosts or curses, it's about people trying to understand what's happening to them. Linda's interactions help ground the story in real family dynamics, making the supernatural elements feel even more impactful. Then there's Lucas, a family friend who appears later and becomes an unexpected ally. His character might seem like a simple side figure at first, but he quickly proves to have depth. Lucas isn't just there for comic relief or to fill space. He challenges the family's beliefs and pushes Emma to think differently about the curse and their situation. The actor's portrayal is easygoing but thoughtful, giving Lucas a kind of grounded honesty that helps balance the story's tension. His presence brings fresh energy to the group, and his relationship with Emma, in particular, adds another layer of emotional complexity. Throughout the film, you also get glimpses of the family's ancestors through flashbacks and old diaries. These moments are more than just historical background, they help viewers understand where the curse began and why it's so powerful. The actors playing these earlier generations bring a haunting quality that fits perfectly with the eerie atmosphere of those scenes. Their performances, though brief, add a sense of history and weight that makes the curse feel like a living thing, almost a character itself. What's truly impressive about the cast as a whole is how well they work together. There's a natural flow in their interactions that makes the family feel real, not just a group of people caught in a plot. You see genuine care, frustration, hope, and fear all mixed together, which makes the stakes feel higher and the story more engaging. The director's choice to focus on these relationships rather than just jump scares or special effects really pays off. It's the emotional connections between characters that keep you hooked. One of the subtle but powerful things the actors do is show how the characters cope differently with fear and uncertainty. Emma's quiet determination contrasts with Mark's occasional outbursts and Linda's skepticism. Lucas's calm reasoning offers another way to face the unknown. These different responses make the story richer and more relatable. We all handle tough situations differently, and seeing this reflected on screen adds authenticity. The challenges the characters face are not just external but deeply personal. Emma's journey is about more than breaking a curse, it's about finding her own strength and learning to trust others. Mark's story is about forgiveness, both of himself and from others. Linda struggles with letting go of logic to accept things beyond understanding. Lucas challenges the family to be open to new ideas, even when it's scary. Watching these personal struggles unfold alongside the supernatural threats creates a layered narrative that feels meaningful. The actors' performances capture these emotional struggles without overdoing it. You don't get melodrama but quiet moments of honesty, a look, a gesture, a whispered conversation. These details invite viewers to connect with the characters on a deeper level. It's the kind of storytelling that stays with you after the movie ends, making you think about the characters and their choices long after the screen goes dark. Even the smaller roles contribute to this rich tapestry. Neighbors, friends, and even strangers who appear briefly add texture to the world. They react to the strange happenings in ways that feel natural, showing fear, curiosity, or disbelief. These little touches make the story feel lived in and believable. In the end, the character journey in Final Destination, Bloodlines is what gives the movie its heart. The actors bring these people to life in a way that feels honest and real. They make you care about what happens to Emma, Mark, and the others, not just because of the danger they face but because of who they are inside. This emotional connection is what makes the movie more than just a thriller. It becomes a story about family, courage, and hope in the face of the unknown. It's this blend of character depth and suspense that keeps the audience invested from start to finish. You know what's really fun about Final Destination, Bloodlines? It's packed with so many hidden details and little Easter eggs that you might miss if you're not paying close attention, but once you spot them, everything clicks in a whole new way. Watching it feels like going on a treasure hunt, and I love how the filmmakers sneak these clever touches in without making it obvious. For example, right from the start, when Emma finds that old family photo in the attic, did you catch the small symbol etched into the corner of the frame? It's this strange, almost tribal design that seems like just an old decoration, but it actually shows up again later in the film, carved into some of the furniture in the ancestral home. That symbol connects the past to the present, like a silent reminder of the family's history, and maybe even the curse itself. I remember thinking, wow, they really thought this through. Another thing that caught my eye was the way the filmmakers used colors throughout the movie. At first, it seemed like just regular lighting, but then I noticed how scenes with Emma are often bathed in cool blues and grays, giving a quiet, somber mood. Contrast that with the flashback scenes, where warmer reds and oranges dominate, almost like the past is alive with hidden passion and danger. It's a subtle visual way to separate time periods, but it also adds emotional weight without a single word being spoken. I don't know about you, but I really appreciate those kinds of details because they make the movie feel richer, like there's a language beyond dialogue. Speaking of language, there are so many small moments where objects or background details hint at the story's bigger themes. Like in that scene where Emma finds the old diary, the pages are filled with sketches of trees, roots, and branches, which seem to symbolize how family ties grow and sometimes twist in unexpected ways. It's almost like the movie is telling us, look closer, this story isn't just about fear, it's about how history runs deep and can't be easily escaped. I love when a film layers its story like that. One of my favorite Easter eggs is a nod to the original Final Destination series. There's a moment where a clock on the wall freezes just before something bad happens, which is a clear callback to how time and fate play such big roles in the franchise. It's subtle, but fans of the series will definitely pick up on it. And it's not just a random reference, it actually fits perfectly with the movie's focus on destiny and whether it can be changed. It's like the filmmakers are winking at us, reminding us this story is part of a bigger world. There's also a scene where Mark, the uncle, keeps glancing at an old locket he carries around. That locket looks pretty ordinary, but if you pause and look carefully, you'll notice it's engraved with the same mysterious symbol from the photo frame and furniture. It's almost like a family heirloom tied to the curse. That kind of repeated detail adds a sense of continuity that pulls the story together in a clever way. Another cool hidden detail is the way the sound design plays with silence. There are moments when everything goes quiet just before something terrible happens, like the calm before a storm. This isn't just for scare effect, it actually makes you feel tense, like the world is holding its breath. It's a small touch that really works on a subconscious level. And sometimes, you'll hear faint whispers or distant echoes during these quiet scenes, which might be easy to miss but create an eerie atmosphere that stays with you. Even the movie's opening credits are packed with symbolism. The way the letters fade in and out almost looks like they're dissolving, which connects to the theme of things falling apart, whether it's family bonds or fate itself. I remember watching that and thinking, this isn't just a title sequence, it's setting the whole tone. It's the kind of thing that shows how much thought went into every moment. Did you notice how the camera sometimes lingers on seemingly random objects? Like the old key Emma finds, which isn't just a prop but actually represents unlocking the truth about her family. Or the way the camera pauses on broken mirrors and shattered glass throughout the movie, symbolizing fractured lives and broken realities. These images are woven into the scenes so naturally that you might not catch them the first time, but once you do, you can't unsee them. And then there are the small but clever nods to classic horror films hidden throughout. For example, there's a scene where Emma walks down a long, dark hallway that feels very reminiscent of old haunted house movies, with flickering lights and creaking floors. But in the background, if you look closely, there's a painting on the wall that looks like a subtle homage to a famous horror poster. It's like the filmmakers are tipping their hats to the genre that inspired them while still telling their own unique story. Another moment that stuck with me was during a family dinner scene where the characters talk about fate and choices. In the background, you can see a chessboard with pieces mid-game. That chessboard isn't just decoration, it's a metaphor for the moves and countermoves each character has to make as they face the curse. It's these small, quiet details that keep the story feeling layered and meaningful. One of the coolest Easter eggs involves the soundtrack. There are tiny snippets of sound or melody that repeat quietly in different scenes, almost like a secret code. If you listen carefully, you'll notice a theme that plays softly during moments when the family's past is being revealed. It adds a haunting feeling that ties everything together. Emotionally, it's not just background music, it's storytelling through sound. And speaking of sound, I loved how sometimes everyday noises, like a clock ticking, footsteps, or even a creaking door, are turned into something spooky just by the way they're recorded. The sound team really worked hard to make ordinary sounds feel unsettling, which adds to the movie's creepy vibe without relying on obvious jump scares. Did you catch the moment where Emma finds a torn piece of a letter? It looked like a small detail, but the letter had faint handwriting that hinted at family secrets. Later, that piece helps her connect dots she didn't even know were there. It's a brilliant way the movie uses tiny clues to keep you engaged and thinking. Even the way the characters' clothing changes subtly tells a story. Emma's clothes get darker and more worn as the movie progresses, showing how her journey becomes heavier and more difficult. Mark's clothing shifts from rough and casual to more protective and serious, mirroring his growing role as guardian. These visual cues might not jump out at first, but they quietly support the story's emotional flow. Another clever touch is how the movie plays with reflections. There are scenes where characters look into mirrors or windows, but the reflections sometimes show something different, a shadow or figure that isn't really there. It's a great way to hint at the unseen forces at play without spelling everything out. These moments make you wonder what's real and what's in their minds. Even the movie's ending shot has a hidden meaning. Without giving too much away, it leaves the door slightly open, literally and figuratively, suggesting the story isn't completely finished. It's a clever way to keep the audience guessing and maybe hoping for more, all while tying back to the theme of fate's endless twists. All these hidden details and Easter eggs show how much care the filmmakers put into crafting a movie that rewards viewers who pay attention. It's like they're inviting us to be part of the mystery, to look closer and find meaning beyond the surface. And that's what makes watching Final Destination Bloodlines such a rich and exciting experience, not just a simple thriller, but a story full of secrets waiting to be uncovered. So next time you watch the movie, try keeping an eye out for these little gems. They make you feel like you're in on something special, like a detective piecing together clues. And honestly, spotting these hidden touches makes the movie even more fun and memorable. You know, when I first watched Final Destination Bloodlines, I had no idea just how many wild and strange things happened behind the scenes while they were making the movie. It's funny how movies that look so smooth and polished can have so many little odd moments during production that almost never make it to the screen. Like, did you know the film's shooting schedule got thrown off because of a random storm that flooded one of the main sets? It wasn't just a tiny puddle either. It actually caused major delays and forced the crew to completely rebuild parts of the set before they could continue filming. Imagine how stressful that must have been for everyone, especially since they were working against the clock to meet the release date. It's crazy to think that such a big part of the movie we love was almost ruined by something as unpredictable as the weather. And speaking of near disasters, there was this one scene early in the film where a big prop was supposed to fall dramatically to create suspense. The special effects team had it all set up perfectly, but during the actual take, the prop didn't fall where it was supposed to. Instead, it bounced awkwardly and knocked over a bunch of other set pieces, nearly injuring one of the actors. Luckily, nobody got hurt, but they had to reshoot the whole scene several times after that, which really pushed the schedule back. It's funny because when you watch that scene, it looks so carefully done and perfect, you'd never guess. Through dozens of versions before the director was happy. It's kind of amazing how much work goes into making something look effortless on screen. There was also this moment during filming when the lead actress almost got seriously hurt during a stunt. She was supposed to jump from one platform to another, but one of the safety harnesses malfunctioned. Thankfully, the stunt coordinator caught it just in time, and she wasn't hurt. After that, the entire stunt team double-checked every piece of gear before filming any dangerous scenes. It's easy to forget how risky these stunts can be, and how much goes on behind the scenes to keep actors safe. Another curious fact is that the script went through multiple rewrites right up until filming began. The original story had some big differences, like different character motivations and even a different ending. But the writers and director decided to change things based on early test screenings and feedback from the actors. Some of these changes made the story tighter and the characters more relatable, but it's interesting to imagine what the movie would have been like with the first script. There's also a bit of trivia about the costume design. The team chose very specific colors and styles to show the characters' personalities without saying a word. For example, Emma's outfits are mostly practical and muted tones, reflecting her grounded and serious nature. On the other hand, her brother's clothing shifts from casual to more formal as he becomes more involved in the mystery, showing his growing responsibility. These little touches help tell the story visually and add layers to the characters. One of the strangest things is how quiet the set was during some of the most intense scenes. You'd expect lots of chatter and crew noise, but apparently, the whole crew would hold their breath during takes, wanting everything to be just right. Actors talked about how this quiet focus helped them get really into their roles. It's kind of cool to think about the energy in the room being so serious and tight, especially when the scenes were so emotionally charged. And here's a strange but sweet fact. The director kept a small notebook on set where he wrote down random ideas, little observations from actors, or even moments of inspiration. Some of these notes made it into the movie as last-minute dialogue changes or new scene directions. It's a reminder of how movies are living, breathing things that can evolve right up until the last moment. Another behind-the-scenes moment that's pretty funny happened during a break in filming. The cast and crew started a silly competition to see who could come up with the best death scene using props around the set. It was a way to relieve tension and bond during the long shooting days. Even though it sounds odd, it actually helped the team stay connected and brought some lightness to an otherwise dark story. And let's not forget about the movie's special effects makeup team. They worked overtime to create realistic injuries and scares, using a mix of prosthetics, paint, and even some digital touch-ups. One day, they accidentally glued a fake wound too firmly to an actor's skin, and it took hours to carefully remove without causing pain. The actor joked about it later, saying it was the most stubborn bruise ever. These kinds of stories show how much care and patience go into making things look convincing on screen. All these strange, surprising moments from behind the scenes make watching Final Destination Bloodlines feel even more special. You realize that every cool effect, every emotional scene, and every twist of the story is the result of so many small stories, challenges, and funny moments during filming. It's like the movie carries a hidden history of its own, a collection of strange facts and unexpected adventures that make it more than just a film. Next time you watch it, you might enjoy it even more knowing all the wild things that almost didn't happen but did, thanks to the hard work and creativity of everyone involved. Watching Final Destination Bloodlines, there are certain scenes that really stand out, moments that feel like the heartbeat of the whole story, where everything comes alive in a way that sticks with you long after the credits roll. These scenes aren't just there to shock or scare us. They carry weight, emotion, and meaning, shaping the characters' journeys and deepening the themes the movie explores. As I think back on them, it feels like peeling back layers of the story, discovering more with each look, like you and I are unfolding the movie together. One of the first scenes that grabbed my attention was the opening sequence, the moment where the characters first encounter the danger that sets the whole story in motion. It's not just about the tension or the special effects, but how the scene quietly introduces the idea that fate is playing a cruel game. There's this strange mix of normal life and sudden, unpredictable chaos. What makes it powerful is the way it pulls us into the characters' world, making us feel the same confusion and fear they do. The camera work here is subtle but effective, lingering just long enough on certain details, a flicker of a shadow, a brief glance between characters, that hints something bigger is about to unfold. It's like the film is whispering to us, pay attention, because nothing will be the same after this. This scene also introduces a key theme that runs through the entire movie, the idea of control, or really, the lack of it. The characters, just like us, think they understand their world, but fate keeps reminding them that they're not in charge. It's a theme that feels very human because we all want to believe we control our lives, but sometimes things happen that throw everything off course. The opening sequence lays this out without spelling it out, letting the tension build naturally, which makes the shock that follows hit even harder. Another moment that really lingers is a scene where one of the main characters, Emma, confronts her own fears head-on. I won't spoil exactly what happens, but it's a turning point for her. Up until this point, she's mostly reacting to what's happening around her, but here she takes a step forward, showing bravery that feels raw and honest. The way the scene is shot makes you feel like you're right there with her. The tight framing, the quick cuts between her face and the threat looming close, the heavy breathing, all of it pulls you into her world. You start to understand what's at stake on a deeply emotional level. What's fascinating about this moment is how it ties back to the movie's bigger themes, like facing the unknown and the struggle to fight back against forces beyond our control. Emma's courage isn't just about surviving, it's about finding a way to stand up when everything seems stacked against her. It's a reminder that fear is real, but so is strength. This scene is where the story stops being just about avoiding danger and starts being about resilience and human spirit. Then there's a quieter scene that might be easy to overlook, but it's packed with meaning, the one where Emma talks with her brother about what they're going through. There's no action or special effects here, just two people trying to make sense of everything. What makes this moment so important is how natural and heartfelt it feels. The dialogue isn't flashy, it's simple and sincere, and it reveals a lot about their relationship. It's a moment of calm in the storm, but also a scene that shows the emotional cost of the story's events. This conversation highlights another theme, the importance of family and connection. Throughout the movie, the characters are pulled in different directions by fate, but moments like this remind us that the bonds between people can be a source of strength and comfort. It's the emotional core that keeps the story grounded, even when things get wild and terrifying. You realize that beneath all the chaos, the movie is really about people trying to hold on to each other. Of course, no discussion would be complete without talking about the film's big twist, when the story suddenly flips and throws everything we thought we knew into question. This scene is a masterclass in timing and surprise. It comes at just the right moment to shake things up and keep the tension high. What makes it stand out is not just the shock factor, but how it changes the way you see everything that came before it. Suddenly, details that seem small or random take on new meaning. I love how this twist plays with the theme of fate versus free will. It asks a tough question: are the characters just pawns in a game they can't win, or do they have the power to change their story? The way the movie handles this isn't heavy-handed. It leaves room for us to think and feel, to debate what it all means. That kind of storytelling is what makes the movie more than just a thriller. It becomes something that sticks with you, inviting reflection. The emotional impact of this twist is huge because it raises the stakes and deepens the characters' struggles. Suddenly, what seemed like a path to safety isn't so clear anymore. You can see the fear and confusion in the actors' faces, which makes it real and relatable. It's a moment that changes the course of the story and tests the characters in ways they never expected. Then there's the final confrontation scene, where all the threads come together. It's intense and packed with emotion, but what really makes it work is the way it balances action with character. The characters aren't just running through some scary set piece, their choices here feel personal and meaningful. You can sense the weight of everything they've been through, the loss, the hope, and the determination. This scene ties back beautifully to the movie's central themes. It's about facing the consequences of the past and trying to find a way forward, even when the odds are against you. The tension is high, but there's also a sense of resolution, a moment of clarity for the characters. The way it's shot, with close-ups and slower pacing at times, lets us breathe with them, feel their pain and their courage. One of the subtle things I noticed is how the filmmakers used lighting and color to support the mood here. The shadows are deeper, and the light flickers as if reflecting the unstable fate the characters face. It's a clever touch that adds another layer without drawing attention away from the story. It's moments like these that show how every choice in the movie, from script to cinematography, works together to create an experience that's more than just surface-level thrills. As the story wraps up, there's a quiet scene that brings a sense of hope. It's not a flashy ending, but it feels earned because it's about connection and moving forward. It reminds us that even in stories full of danger and loss, there can be moments of peace and understanding. This ending leaves the door open, which feels right for a movie about fate. It acknowledges that life is unpredictable, but also that there's always a chance for something better. Looking back on these key scenes, what strikes me most is how well they balance excitement with emotion and meaning. The movie isn't just about what happens next, but about how the characters feel and grow through everything. It invites us to think about our own lives, our own fears and hopes, in a way that's gentle but real. So, as we watch these moments unfold, we're not just seeing a story about escaping death or fighting fate, we're seeing a story about people, about what it means to be human in a world that's often out of our control. And that's what makes Final Destination Bloodlines more than just a thriller. It's a movie that sticks with you, asking questions that don't have easy answers but are worth thinking about long after the screen goes dark. Walking onto the set of Final Destination, Bloodlines feels like stepping into a world where every detail matters, where the filmmakers work hard to make sure the story comes alive in the most intense, real way possible. From the moment you enter, it's clear this wasn't just about making a scary movie. The crew had a real vision for how to bring the story to life, and they faced some serious challenges along the way. But those challenges turned into opportunities to get creative, and the result is a film that pulls you in, keeps you on edge, and looks stunning while doing it. One of the first things you notice about the production is how much thought went into the visuals. The cinematography isn't just about capturing scenes, it's about creating mood and tension. The director and the camera team worked closely together to find angles and lighting that would make the audience feel the characters' fear and uncertainty. For example, in several key moments, they used tight shots that trap you in the scene with the characters. You can almost feel the walls closing in, which makes the suspense hit even harder. It's like you're not just watching from a distance, you're right there, experiencing everything with them. But getting those perfect shots wasn't easy. The crew often had to work in tight spaces or recreate dangerous situations safely while keeping the action believable. One story that stands out is about a scene involving a collapsing structure. It looked so realistic on screen, but behind the scenes, it took days of planning and several attempts to get it just right. The special effects team combined practical effects, things happening in real life, with digital effects to make sure it was both safe for the actors and jaw-dropping for the audience. They used clever camera tricks and timing to hide any safety gear or wires, so nothing pulled you out of the moment. It's a great example of how the technical side and the storytelling side had to work hand in hand. Sound was another area where the filmmakers really pushed themselves. The movie's tension depends a lot on the way sounds build and fall away. The sound designers didn't just add creepy noises, they created an audio world that feels alive and unpredictable. Sometimes it's the quiet moments that are the most powerful. For example, there are scenes where the silence feels so thick it almost becomes its own character, making every little creak or breath stand out. On the other hand, when something sudden happens, the sound hits you like a punch, sharp and unexpected. This careful balance between silence and noise helps the movie keep the audience on edge without tiring. Hem out. The actors also had to work closely with the crew to make sure their performances felt natural in scenes filled with special effects. Sometimes that means reacting to things that aren't really there, like CGI elements or props that only exist as a green screen placeholder during filming. The director would often run the scenes multiple times to help the actors get their timing and expressions just right, so the final cut feels seamless. Watching the behind-the-scenes footage, you can see the actors' dedication to making their fear and reactions real, which really sells the tension for viewers. One really cool trick the team used involved the way they handled lighting during some of the most intense moments. Instead of relying only on traditional lighting setups, they experimented with flickering lights, shadows, and even natural light to give scenes a more unpredictable feel. There's a memorable sequence where the light seems to flicker like a dying bulb, and it's not just for atmosphere. It actually mirrors the shaky, uncertain path the characters are on. This kind of creative lighting gives the scenes an almost living quality, making the danger feel immediate and real. Another interesting part of the production was how they chose filming locations. Instead of just building sets, the crew scouted real places that already had the right vibe, old buildings, abandoned warehouses, and quiet suburban streets that look normal but feel eerie once you look closer. Using real locations added a layer of authenticity that's hard to fake on a soundstage. It also meant the crew had to adapt quickly to challenges like changing weather or noise from the outside world. There's a story about one shoot where unexpected rain threatened to delay filming, but the team quickly adjusted, turning the rain into a part of the scene to add extra tension. Moments like this show how flexible and creative the crew had to be. Behind the camera, the director was known for encouraging collaboration, often inviting input from the actors and crew about how to make scenes better or more realistic. This open approach helped build a strong team spirit, which you can feel in the final film. It's clear the people working on Bloodlines cared deeply about telling the story well, not just checking boxes. That kind of energy comes through in the way scenes flow and in the small but important details, like how a character's eyes widen just a little too late or how a shadow moves oddly in the background. One of the toughest parts of filming was capturing the action sequences. The movie has some intense chase and escape scenes that feel both chaotic and carefully controlled. To get these just right, the stunt team worked closely with the cinematographers, planning each move with precision while still allowing for a bit of unpredictability to keep things fresh. They used everything from wire rigs to clever editing to make the stunts look dangerous but safe for everyone involved. Sometimes they even filmed the same stunt from multiple angles in one take, which gave the editors lots of options to build the tension in post-production. Speaking of editing, the post-production team played a huge role in shaping the final feel of the movie. They didn't just cut scenes together, they helped craft the pacing, making sure the story moved at the right speed to keep viewers hooked without overwhelming them. Sound effects, music, and visual effects were layered in carefully, balancing each other to build the movie's mood. The editors worked closely with the director to fine-tune everything, making choices about when to hold on a shot a little longer or cut quickly to raise the tension. It's like a delicate dance, and when done right, it pulls you deeper into the story. The music score was another standout element. The composer chose sounds that felt both modern and a little unsettling, nothing too loud or obvious, but enough to keep the mood just right. Sometimes the music creeps in slowly, almost sneaking up on you, while other times it bursts out, matching the characters' panic and urgency. This mix of subtle and bold moments makes the soundtrack an important part of the movie's emotional journey. The use of practical effects combined with digital ones is another thing that makes Bloodlines special. Rather than relying too much on CGI, the team worked hard to build physical sets and props that actors could interact with. This hands-on approach makes scenes feel more real and helps the actors deliver performances that connect with the audience. When digital effects were used, they were carefully blended to support the story without feeling fake or distracting. It's a fine balance that the effects team managed beautifully. Throughout the whole production, safety was a top priority, especially because some scenes involved stunts or special effects that could be risky. The crew had experts on set to make sure everything went smoothly, but that didn't stop them from pushing boundaries creatively. It's impressive how they managed to keep things safe while still delivering the kind of intense, edge-of-your-seat moments that fans expect from a Final Destination movie. What really ties all these technical feats together is the clear focus on storytelling. Every choice, whether about lighting, sound, camera angles, or effects, served to support the characters and the themes. It's a reminder that making a movie isn't just about technology or flashy scenes, it's about creating an experience that draws you in and keeps you thinking long after the screen goes dark. Walking through the set and hearing these stories from the crew makes you appreciate all the work that goes into a movie like Final Destination, Bloodlines. It's a team effort where everyone, from the actors to the special effects artists, the sound designers to the editors, plays a crucial role. They all come together to build a world that feels alive, scary, and strangely beautiful at the same time. In the end, the production of Bloodlines shows that great filmmaking is about creativity, collaboration, and care. It's about facing challenges head-on and finding new ways to tell stories that matter. And for us watching, it means an experience that's thrilling, emotional, and unforgettable. Watching Final Destination, Bloodlines isn't just about the scares or the twists, it's about the ideas that linger beneath the surface, the things that make you pause and think long after the credits roll. At first glance, it might seem like just another horror movie about fate and survival, but if you look closer, there's a lot more going on. It's like peeling back the layers of an onion, where each scene and symbol adds a new meaning that ties into bigger questions about life, choice, and the consequences we face. One of the main ideas the movie explores is fate versus free will. This is a theme that's woven into the story from the very beginning. The characters find themselves caught in a cycle where death seems unavoidable, like there's a force controlling their lives no matter what they do. But the way the movie plays with this idea makes you wonder, are they truly powerless, or do their choices matter in some way? The characters fight against what seems like destiny, but at the same time, the film shows how difficult it is to escape the consequences of their actions. This push and pull between control and surrender feels very human, because we all face moments where it seems like things are out of our hands, yet we keep trying anyway. There's also a strong sense of cause and effect throughout the film, like the movie is reminding us that every action has a reaction. It's not just about big dramatic moments, but even small, seemingly insignificant choices can set off a chain of events. That's reflected in the way the movie's deaths happen. There's often a build-up where something tiny goes wrong, and suddenly everything spirals out of control. It's a bit like a warning about paying attention to the little things in life, because they can have bigger impacts than we realize. This makes the movie more than just a horror story. It's almost a reflection on how fragile life can be and how we're all connected in ways we don't always see. The way the film uses certain symbols adds another layer to these ideas. For instance, the recurring image of bloodlines, family connections and heritage carries a lot of weight. It's not just a title, it's a symbol of how the past reaches into the present. Some characters are haunted not just by what's happening to them now, but by the legacy of their ancestors, their family's choices, and secrets. This idea makes the story richer because it shows how personal history can shape who we are and the challenges we face. It's a reminder that sometimes, escaping our fate means understanding where we come from and the patterns we might be repeating. Another symbol that stands out is the way the movie plays with mirrors and reflections. You see these moments where characters catch glimpses of themselves or others in mirrors or windows, and it's more than just a visual trick. These reflections ask us to think about identity, how we see ourselves versus how the world sees us. Sometimes the reflections are distorted or fragmented, hinting that the character's sense of self is broken or uncertain. This ties back to the theme of control, suggesting that the characters are struggling not only against death but also against their own inner fears and doubts. It's like the movie is saying that the battle isn't just external but deeply personal. The setting and atmosphere also carry symbolic meaning. The locations, abandoned buildings, quiet streets, places that look normal but feel off, create a world that's both familiar and unsettling. These settings mirror the characters' experiences. On the surface, everything seems fine, but underneath, danger and uncertainty lurk. This contrast helps build tension but also feels like a metaphor for life itself. The safe places we think we know might hide risks we don't see until it's too late. It's a subtle way the movie reminds us to stay aware and not take things for granted. Beyond these personal and philosophical themes, the film touches on social ideas too, especially about how society deals with trauma and loss. Many characters carry heavy emotional burdens, and the story shows how those feelings can isolate people or push them toward risky decisions. There's a sense that the movie wants us to think about how we support each other in difficult times, or sometimes fail to do so. The way characters respond to fear and grief feels very real and relatable, which grounds the horror in genuine human experience. It's not just about survival in a physical sense, but survival emotionally and socially. The film also quietly comments on the idea of justice and fairness. In a world where random tragedy strikes, the characters wrestle with questions about why bad things happen to good people, or why some seem to escape while others don't. This struggle is part of what makes the story emotionally powerful because it reflects a universal question that has no easy answer. The movie doesn't try to solve this mystery but instead invites viewers to sit with the discomfort of not knowing. It's a brave choice, showing that sometimes the hardest part is accepting uncertainty. One of the more subtle symbols appears in the recurring use of numbers and timing. Certain numbers keep popping up in key scenes, almost like clues or warnings. These moments add to the feeling that fate is at work but also encourage the audience to pay close attention, like the movie is challenging us to notice the patterns beneath the chaos. This attention to detail rewards viewers who look deeper, turning the experience into a kind of puzzle or game. It's a clever way the filmmakers engage the audience beyond just watching, making us active participants in unraveling the story's meaning. The theme of connection versus isolation also runs throughout the film. While the characters are all linked by the deadly events unfolding, each one struggles with feeling alone in their fight. The story shows how fear can divide people, but also how moments of trust and teamwork offer hope. This contrast highlights a powerful social message. In the face of danger or hardship, finding common ground and leaning on others can be life-saving. It's a reminder that even when things seem hopeless, we don't have to face challenges alone. The way the movie blends horror with these deeper themes is part of why it resonates so much. It's not just about jump scares or gruesome moments, it uses those elements to explore bigger ideas about life, death, and what it means to be human. The horror becomes a way to examine our fears and hopes in a raw, honest way. This balance between thrills and meaning gives the film a lasting impact, making it more than just entertainment. Looking back, the movie's themes and symbols come together like pieces of a puzzle that slowly reveal a bigger picture. It's a story about the fight to take control in a world that often feels random and unfair, about understanding where we come from, and about the connections that bind us all. These ideas don't shout at you. Instead, they weave naturally into the story, giving it depth without weighing it down. It's like having a conversation with a friend who makes you think about things in new ways while still keeping it real and relatable. In the end, Final Destination Bloodlines uses its scares and surprises to ask questions about fate, choice, and connection. It invites us to look beyond the surface and consider the invisible threads that shape our lives. That's what makes it more than just a scary movie. It's a story that stays with you, making you think about what's really at stake when we face the unknown. From the very first moments on set, the cast of Final Destination Bloodlines shared a special kind of connection that really came through on screen. It wasn't just about delivering lines or hitting marks. There was a genuine sense of teamwork and friendship that grew between the actors, and that energy added a real depth to the film. When you watch the movie, it's easy to see how their interactions feel natural and believable, like these people really know each other. That kind of chemistry isn't always easy to create, but here, it became one of the film's strongest points. The way the characters responded to one another, sometimes with tension, sometimes with support, made the story feel more grounded and emotionally engaging. This was no doubt helped by how much the actors respected and enjoyed working with each other. Behind the scenes, many of the cast members have shared stories about how the filming process was both challenging and rewarding. For example, the lead actor talked about how intense some of the scenes were, especially those involving close calls with death and emotional breakdowns. To prepare, they spent time together off-set just getting to know one another, which helped build trust. This trust was important, especially in moments where characters had to rely on each other to survive or to face their fears. In interviews, several actors mentioned how these experiences brought them closer, sometimes making the film feel like a shared adventure rather than just a job. This camaraderie translated into their performances, giving the audience a sense that the characters were really connected, which made the tension and emotional stakes even higher. The director also played a key role in nurturing this environment. They encouraged the cast to improvise at times, letting the actors bring their own ideas to scenes instead of sticking rigidly to the script. This approach allowed the performances to feel more spontaneous and real. One crew member mentioned that during a particularly emotional scene, the actors went off script, exploring their characters' feelings in ways that surprised even the director. These moments of genuine emotion were captured on camera, adding layers to the story that might have been missed if everything was planned out in advance. It was clear that the creative freedom given to the cast made the movie richer and more nuanced. The chemistry extended beyond the actors to include the crew as well. Many have spoken about the close-knit atmosphere on set, despite the pressure of working on such an intense film. From the camera operators to the makeup artists, everyone seemed to share a passion for the story they were helping to tell. The makeup team, for example, faced the tough challenge of creating realistic and sometimes gruesome special effects for the death scenes, but they also bonded with the cast during long hours of preparation. One behind-the-scenes anecdote reveals how a makeup artist and an actor would joke around to lighten the mood, even in the middle of a serious scene. This mix of professionalism and friendship made the atmosphere supportive and energetic, helping everyone push through the demanding schedule. Audience reactions to Final Destination Bloodlines have been varied but mostly positive, especially among fans of the franchise. Early screenings showed viewers were drawn to how the characters' relationships felt genuine, thanks to the cast's chemistry. People talked about how they cared about what happened to the characters because they seemed like real people, not just horror movie stereotypes. This emotional connection made the scares hit harder, as viewers were more invested in the outcome. On social media, many fans praised the performances, saying that the actors brought something fresh to the series while still honoring what made the original films memorable. This balance helped attract both long-time followers and newcomers to the franchise. Critics also noted the cast's dynamic as a highlight. While some reviews focused on the story's twists and the visual effects, many pointed out that the heart of the film lay in the believable interactions between the characters. The chemistry wasn't just surface level, it showed in moments of vulnerability, fear, and even humor, making the characters multidimensional. These nuanced performances lifted the movie beyond a typical slasher film and gave it emotional weight. Over time, this aspect helped Bloodlines find its place as one of the more thoughtful entries in the Final Destination series. There were also some interesting fan reactions that reflected the chemistry and behind-the-scenes dynamics. For instance, online discussions often mentioned favorite character pairings or scenes where the actors' natural rapport really stood out. Some viewers even speculated about off-screen friendships based on the way characters interacted. This level of engagement shows how much the cast's connection resonated with audiences. It's always exciting when fans go beyond just watching and start talking about the relationships and performances, making the film a shared experience that lives on beyond the screen. The movie's reception also grew as it reached wider audiences through streaming and home release. Many who missed it in theaters discovered the film later and appreciated the blend of suspense, character work, and thrills. The cast performances continued to draw praise, with some saying the actors brought a new energy that helped refresh the franchise. This ongoing interest shows how important the human element was. Viewers were not just watching a story about fate and survival, but about people they could connect with. That emotional bond made the film stick in people's minds, encouraging repeat viewings and discussions. Looking back, it's clear that the chemistry among the cast, combined with the supportive environment behind the scenes, was a big part of what made Final Destination Bloodlines work so well. The actors' ability to play off each other naturally, their shared commitment to their roles, and the director's openness to improvisation all contributed to a film that feels alive and immediate. The audience's positive response highlights how much these relationships matter in making horror stories truly effective. When we care about the people on screen, their struggles and scares become more than just entertainment, they become something that stays with us. And that's the real magic behind this movie's success.